This man is going viral on TikTok right now for exposing Nigeria. Now, I've spoken about Nigeria before, and every Nigerian person that I've worked with, I've come across, whenever we have the conversation about Africa, they are always disillusioned, perplexed, angry, frustrated, bewildered, confused. I can't think of any more off the top of my head about the situation in Nigeria. Nigeria is one of the biggest African countries. It should be one of the richest. But in reality, the quality of life stinks because the corruption is rife. The corruption is rife. And people like this, I respect because he's not trying to sugarcoat it. I absolutely despise the people that go, oh no, but there's some nice parts in Africa. Like I always say, man, wowza, wow. There's some nice parts in Africa. The richest continent on the planet. Wow, it has some nice parts. Who would have thought, right? He's showing the real. In reality, most of these countries are shit. With some nice places sprinkled in there. And it should be the opposite. Some of these videos we're about to see are absolutely outrageous, by the way.
We live in the UK. If you live in the UK now and some public minister, they found someone unalive in his house, all the press will be there tomorrow. Like, everyone want to get to the bottom of that. Now, unfortunately, today's story is quite a dark one. A woman passed away in the house of the Minister for Works. His name is David Humahi. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. But no sooner she passed away under what appears to be very mysterious circumstances, did her dad release a sworn affidavit basically saying he doesn't want the police or any medical professionals to conduct an autopsy. He just wants to get her body and bury her straight away. Now, obviously, the reason why he's saying this is because he must be under severe pressure, maybe financially, maybe actual threat to life.
Sorry, you know the scariest part about Africa? When you look at somewhere like Mexico, right? It's corrupt. And the people at the top are corrupt. But it's the gangs, it's the cartel that's doing it. A lot of these people are corrupt, but it's like fear. Right? The cartel are looking at you like, hey, it's like, okay, your whole family, blood. Like, you might as well just take this money, hold that, or everyone's dying. And you know what, there. So they just do it, right? In Africa, the corruption, it all comes from the politicians. Like, they are inherently corrupt. They are the corrupt entity, not the people. It's the politicians. So there's literally, I mean, if you remove the cartel, you could say, okay, you remove the cartel, Mexico becomes not corrupt. But what do you, like, the only way to fix Africa is to get rid of the people at the top. But how do you do that outside of a revolution? It has to be the people, and this is where I put the accountability on the people, right? Not like the entire accountability, but they take some, because in reality, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody's coming to save you. Your leaders hate you. They don't care about you. It has to be you. It has to be from within. Again, look at Ibrahim Traoré. Look at Mali. It has to come from within. Because the people who are dealing with the outsiders are inherently corrupt.
From a very, very powerful politician who doesn't want the real truth about how this woman comes to be unalive at his house to come to light in Nigeria. Because you have power and influence, you're able to just easily cover this up. And I'm sure in a week or two's time, probably no one's going to be talking about this. What do you mean 393 billion naira has been allocated for about 1,500 street lights? Now, for context of my UK audience, that is over 200 million pounds has been allocated to fund 1,477 street lights.
This is what we talk about. Is the West a problem? 1,000%. It's undeniable. The West are what would hold Africa back from being a global force. The global force. But the quality of life in places like Nigeria, Ghana, Congo could be improved 10, 20, 30 times if the leaders weren't corrupt. If it was just a case where the West were holding power over us and there was nothing we could do, right? They're essentially stealing from us because we signed these colonial pacts and we just gotta hold it for as long as the contract says. But within the country, we care and we do what's best for our people. Africa would be 10, 20 times better than what it is now. What you actually have is a bunch of leaders who are actively and willingly selling their souls. Just giving it away. They take the money, they take the bribes, and then whatever money the country is making, they do stuff like this.
Right. When it comes to corruption, there's a few things going on in this tweet. This is a community health center, as you can see in this picture. I'm not going to say more about that. I think that speaks for itself. But what's also interesting in the tweet is that you can see the person calling attention to it is basically saying, I don't care if you arrest me. Yeah, did you know that if you point out the inadequacy of the government of Nigeria, they can arrest you, they can torture you? The Department of State Services, who are the meant to be an intelligence / I'm not sure exactly what their role is because they always dabble in domestic affairs, but their primary role, it seems, is to enforce the absolute power of the ruling majority in Nigeria. And part of what they can do is, if you make a point about the dire state of the country, they can arrest you. And so this person is, at the same time as he's pointing out the extreme inadequacy that should shame the government, is also declaring that he's not scared to be arrested and tortured for it. Yes, that kind of stuff can subject you to arrest and torture. There's now open extortion in Nigeria. So if you're driving a nice car through the streets, there are extremely poor people who are probably hungry and angry who demand that you give them money. I guess because you're driving your car through the road, and who else are they going to ask, right? And they can damage your vehicle, probably try and harm you if you don't do that. So if you drive a relatively nice car, you have to genuinely be concerned. Or you're actually someone famous. there's the not so hidden threat, a very overt threat actually, that harm may befall you if you don't leave your house with, a substantial or decent amount of money.
Is this like threat, right? The threat of persecution, the reason why famous Africans don't speak about this? Why are all these African singers and rappers not constantly talking about this? Is it because of the threat of persecution? If that's the case, that's so embarrassing and disgusting, by the way. You don't have anyone in the midst that is willing to, stand up for their people? I don't know.
To be able to hand to hoodlums that are prepared to cause thousands of naira of property damage to your vehicle if you don't satiate their hunger for some money. When you add that to the whole, what's that phrase they say in Nigeria, to beg for money? Show me love, that's it. So you combine that together. You have on the one hand the kind of nice form of begging, which is show me love, which is not threatening, someone's asking, pleading with you, making you very uncomfortable if you don't do it. Combine that with the overt threat to life, threat to property of damaging your vehicle if you don't just give people money. Again, it's rounding out nicely to what a failed state should look like. And I think, as someone who takes a very keen interest in studying history, I guess civilization, anthropology, I'm very, very fascinated to see. I should probably start doing quite a regular series on exactly where this is heading, combining the recipe of kidnapping, terrorism, Islamic fundamentalism, obviously poverty, begging, lack of sewage, no drainage, all that is coming along very, very nicely. And so again, it's horrible for the people that live in there, but I'm very interested in studying it, and I hope you guys, continue to stay tuned for more videos like this. I'm actually curious to see. Nigeria is so crazy that someone's now been arrested for apparently making a whole fake governmental agency, getting money to fund it from the central bank, and somehow pilfering that money and doing whatever they want with it. Now, that's the official story. it seems very much like what really happened here is that this person has fallen out of favor with his political godfathers, and now as a way to try and discredit him and send him down to where he belongs, they've essentially lied and said, "Oh, he made a whole fake agency without no."
Sorry, to harping back on the previous video, right? Why aren't these people outside of the government buildings? I mean, they probably have guns and all that shit, right? But instead of attacking other people, surely you have to be thinking about the source, the root cause.
One's knowledge, and he was able to get loads of money from the central bank to fund this agency. But again, these are the kind of things that happen in failed states. The whole circus of this nonsense just proves how much of a joke this country is. Because what do you mean some random person was able to defraud the entire federal government? First of all, do you actually expect people to believe that? Because if that was actually the case, what would that say about the level of competency we have at the people working at the central bank, at the highest levels of our government, the people that are entrusted with trillions of naira, translated billions of dollars, to run a country? Like, the country is completely finished. Like, no one understands how finished this country is. And I think the fact that we don't have a civil war in the types that we have with Sudan or all these other failed states, maybe that's why people aren't fully grasping just how messed up, like just how finished we are. But unfortunately, and I don't want to predict that because again, I have some family there and stuff like that. I still have emotional ties to the country, obviously. This country's finished.
The only hope I have for Africa is that there was a study done and it said, I can't remember what year it was, if it was 2030 or 2050, like Africa will be like the youngest continent. Right, there are more young people, infinitely more young people than older people. The hope is the younger generation kicks out the older generation. That's it. That's literally the only hope. Because outside of that, nothing is going to change. And for the Nigerians in particular, it's so sad, man. I mean, just think about it. If things went a little bit differently, could have been us. Who knows? Could be me in Nigeria right now. Could be you. Luck of the draw. I already call it luck. Our ancestors went through some really, really bad shit. But yeah, man. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments.
This liquor got me in my zone. Now I'm blowing up your phone. Blowing weed, smoking the ozone. I just can't let this go. This liquor got me in my zone. Now I'm blowing up your phone. Blowing weed, smoking